Johanna Olsen Kennedy at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles just received a $5.7 million grant from the NIH, where they were allowed to reduce the age for cross-sex hormones from 13 to 8.
The grant was from 2015 and not to lower the age of hormone therapy, but to study the effects of hormone therapy on youth.
Go to my Twitter account. You'll find an article written by Lior Sapir.
I'm not going to do any of that.
Yeah, I can't stress enough that science happens in scientific journals that can be peer-reviewed, not on Substack publications entitled Reality's Last Stand. We have another reaction video to get to for the channel. I thought the creationist one was pretty fun, so today we're watching an anti-trans street interviewer to see what kind of disingenuous tactics and outright lies they might tell. So hit that like button, it helps us out a ton, and let's get right to it.
Johanna Olsen Kennedy at the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles just received a $5.7 million grant from the NIH, where they were allowed to reduce the age for cross-sex hormones from 13 to 8 years old if the kid's already in the certain tanner stage of puberty.
Would you
But
agree
anyway,
with doing this stuff later, maybe?
Whenever the person wants to do it.
Oh, so whenever.
Yeah, I don't give a about my body. Here's the crazy thing, is that every single medical organization, reliable medical organization in the United States at least, disagrees with your point and says that it is perfectly fine and healthy to give these hormones to kids if they ask for it.
So the AAP is ignoring calls from within their own body to do a systematic review.
But what does the AAP say?
What we're asking the AAP to do is a systematic review of all the studies that have ever been done, because this is done in Sweden.
If that happens, if that happens and the AAP comes back after that systematic review and says, we think this is totally fine, we think that this is completely healthy and a reasonable thing to do, will you then support it?
I want them to follow the science.
Multiple lies here. The grant was from 2015 and not to lower the age of hormone therapy, but to study the effects of hormone therapy on youth, which it found evidence to support a deteriorating depression and negative outcomes mental health wise in trans youth. So I get why he would want to misrepresent it. Also, the AAP has done the exact systematic review that he's talking about here in 2023, and he still doesn't accept it. So yeah, I'm sure he really wants them to follow the science. It led to them reaffirming their stance, which again, this is why he's trying to cherry pick one organization in hopes that like people wouldn't know that, when there's literally dozens. Literally every major medical organization supports this for trans youth, but we're supposed to believe they're all woke or corrupt and random nobodies like this guy know better. Like, give me a break.
Go to my Twitter account. You'll find an article written by Lior Sapir.
I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not
going over 15 different studies. These are the studies that Jack Turbin used to justify transitioning kids. This is the science, my friend. I'm asking you to read the science.
It's not a science.
That's not a science. Like, less than 1% of people
you don't even want to read it. You say you want to follow the science, but you don't want to read the science.
I don't want to read your bullshit science. No, I don't. I think it's bullshit science, and I don't give a
credit.
I know it's bullshit science.
All right. So if you look at the most recent study into gender dysphoria, they followed 139 boys from the age of 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% of them saw their gender dysphoria desist when they went through puberty. 64% grew up to be gay. The Academy of Medicine in France just came out a few months ago and said it's impossible to tell which of these kids will see their gender dysphoria go away and which will not.
Yeah, I can't stress enough that science happens in scientific journals that can be peer-reviewed, not on Substack publications entitled Reality's Last Stand. This guy is a pompous ass for sure. I wonder who peer-reviewed his work, right? Like, he's whining about sample sizes and misnomers to nobody. And he's trying to debunk an article that links 16 studies that show support for gender-affirming care, which the first point of meta-analysis is to serve to paint a strong pattern of what data says through different tests and experiment, rather than cherry-picking one data set out instead of looking at the totality. And we know rather conclusively, he's also just lying about what the most recent data would say, right? The most recent study is of 550 cohorts that found only 1% detransition after receiving any sort of gender-affirming care. This is consistent among any data set you look at.
Defending against the cutting up of children is the moral stance.
I'll bring it up for you.
You know, I really believe that you believe that.
They can consent to that, huh?
Puberty blockers? Well, puberty blockers are 100% reversible, so yes.
And top surgeries as well. That's happening for people under the age of 18.
Right, but they're reversible.
They're reversible with zero damage, is that correct?
I don't know if it's zero damage, but in the majority of cases, it's reversible with almost no damage.
The reason why a lot of them advocate for hormone blockers before puberty is to prevent the testicles from developing. Children that do that are young males, end up with a micropenis for the rest of their life.
Well, you know, if they feel like that's what they need to do, I support it. I think everyone should be able to do whatever they want with their own body. That's why I support abortion.
Things don't work that way when it comes to 10-year-olds making their own decisions.
He is right in the "that's not how that works" line he's going in, but he's wrong in what he's trying to portray by saying it. It's not that a 10-year-old kid just sneaks away from mom and dad to these clinics and is like, "trans me now," and that's the consent. Like with all medical procedures in this country when pertaining to children assent and then their parents consent for them. In the case of gender affirming care with hormone therapy or puberty blockers, this would be after multiple visits with a doctor, weeks of therapy, and a gender dysphoria diagnosis from a doctor who also recommends these treatments to treat it. As for side effects, chemotherapy literally causes infertility in children. Spinal surgery can lead to reduced mobility or lifelong pain, but these dumbasses only have a problem with potential side effects when it comes to gender affirming care. I wonder why. Again, it's shown to reduce depression, anxiety, suicidality, and increase overall quality of life for this population. So what's the justification in banning it? Every medicine has a risk-benefit analysis that the person taking it has to should be educated on. And I agree, we should be educating people. But if they assent and their parents consent and they have the therapy, the doctor, and everything else, there's no justification. It's just bigotry. And once you peel back these people's arguments, it becomes ever so clear.